Are humans truly free? Is predestination real? Election real? Does God really control everything? Is he really sovereign? I want to give you a scientific explanation, defense, and proof and evidence that God is in control of all things. And I'm going to give it to you from a very ironic place. I've made a couple videos about this book, Homo Deus. Really fascinating book. I don't think I've said yet I love it. It's a great book. It's just I disagree with almost everything that's written in it except for this part, or at least part of this part. In this book, Yuval cites a study in which scientists give people a left and a right little button, right? And the scientists tell these people hit the left button or the right button whenever you want. Just sit there, and the very moment that you think to yourself, "I want to hit the right button," do it. Like just let your thumbs hit the button the very moment you want to do it. And these scientists hook up probes to their brains, sensors, and they read brain waves. And the scientists are able to tell in the brain when a person is going to hit the left or the right button. But the key here, the interesting thing, is that they are able to tell when a person's going to hit either the left or the right. Part of the brain will let it for the left, part of the brain will let it for the right. They're able to tell when they're going to do that before the person decides to click one button or the other. And Yuval cites this along with other atheistic scientists in order to prove determinism. Right? We don't actually make free choices. We have a will, we have desires, and we act in accordance with those desires, but we don't choose our desires. So if you really like ice cream, pistachio ice cream, right? You freely go to the store and buy pistachio ice cream, but you can't choose to want pistachio ice cream. That's just part of your chemical makeup. There's a process in your brain that happens when you consider pistachio ice cream, and you don't choose that process in your brain. It is what it is. And so you're freely grabbing the pistachio ice cream, but you're not choosing to want the pistachio ice cream. You're was it David Hume said, reason is the slave of the passions, right? You reason, I'm going to go buy the pistachio ice cream. You have that thought in your head because your passions, your desire is for it. Your reason is a slave to it. This is another point by Jonathan Haidt in The Righteous Mind, right? He gives the analogy in this book, another atheist. He gives the analogy in this book. He says, our intellect is like a rider, and our desires are like an elephant. The elephant is our desires. That's what's steering us where we go. And our reason's sitting on top. And we think that reason is guiding the elephant, but in reality, the elephant does whatever it wants. And the rider sitting on top, he can't really control this massive beast. Instead, what he does is he justifies the things that the elephant does. The elephant tramples over somebody's sandcastle at the beach because that's what the elephant wants to do. And then the rider on top says, well, you know what? That sandcastle was ugly and it deserved to be smashed. And so that's why I told the elephant to go smash it. And he's justifying it after the fact. Just like these chemicals in our brain, the scientists see, hey, there's these chemicals telling the person to hit the left button. And then milliseconds later, the person says in their mind, I want to hit the left button. And boom, instead of the right button, they hit the left button. So this is determinism. The Bible has been describing that since Genesis. The Bible's been describing the fact that God is sovereign over all things, that we are like clay in his hands. He forms us and he shapes us according to his purposes. After the fall in the Garden of Eden, human beings, all of them are born into sin, Psalm 51:5. In sin did my mother conceive me, David says. And so we come out of the womb born sinners, born with these sinful desires, not choosing these desires, but having them. And so when we sin, no one's coercing us. God isn't saying, I'm going to force you to sin, but rather we're doing the thing that we freely want to do. And we feel like we're free because we are, in the sense of doing what we want to do. But in another sense, our actions are determined because we can't choose our desires. And so when somebody becomes a Christian, the Bible says it's because God takes out this heart of stone that doesn't want him, and he puts in a heart of flesh that does want him. So what is that? It's a picture in Ezekiel of God changing our desires. And so this is one way where science is, in a roundabout way, confirming what the Bible has been saying all along. Now, of course, Yuval and Jonathan Haidt and guys like this, they're not agreeing with the Bible. They're not saying God is determining these things. But the point is that the Bible has been describing these things for thousands of years, and now scientists are slowly starting to confirm what's been written in the Bible all along.